Well, as John Biver reported, the climate summit reached a major agreement to protect the world's forests. More than 100 leaders committed on Tuesday to end and reverse deforestation and land degradation by the end of the decade. $19 billion will be devoted to the cause, including $1.7 billion for indigenous people. The backers include Brazil, Indonesia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and together they account for 85% of the world's forests. Plants absorb roughly 30% of carbon dioxide emissions, but an area of forest larger than the United Kingdom was lost last year. So what are the global implications of this deal? Let's bring in Anna Young, the executive director of Chatham House Sustainability Accelerator. She joins us live via Zoom from London. Anna, welcome to the program. Now, world leaders committing to ending deforestation in the next 8 years. Is this an achievable target? And what challenges do you see on the path to achieving this? Anna?
Thank you. Good morning. So COP26 is about countries, companies, investors demonstrating their level of ambition for actions to tackle climate change and to keep 1.5 degree alive. In August this year, world scientists have published a report saying that 1.5 degrees is still possible, but we need to be more ambitious. We need more ambitious actions in sectors like energy, transport, and industry. But at the same time, they also recommend that all the possible pathways will need to include protection and restoration of nature. So the forest deal marks a really important building block for the success of COP and for the achievement of 1.5 degrees. This specific forest deal is a really important step forward in terms of the scale and quality of international response to deforestation. There are more countries involved, there are more funding, and possibly financial regulations that should be implemented in place. There are two important elements to this deal that I think we need to focus on. The first one is the local aspect, that it puts traditional and indigenous population at the center of the protection of forest, recognizing them as the role of guardians of the forest. And there's a second element, which is the global element, and it sends this very strong signal that deforestation-free supply chains should be the norm. Do I think it's achievable? I think we owe it to ourselves and to our children to make it achievable. It is about accountability. How do we hold the world and business leaders accountable for their commitments that they make today, but also how do we hold each other accountable? I think it's everyone's responsibility to take actions, no matter how small they are. And what are the challenges? I think this forest deal is a really important, essentially like a first step, but this is only part of the solution. We also need to focus on supporting countries to make the transition to a more sustainable economy that will deliver the social economic benefit for the millions of people who live in and around the forest.
All right, important points that you've made there, Anna. Speaking of achievable, $19 billion for this goal of ending deforestation. How much can this do, and where should the money go, in your opinion?
19 billion is definitely a good start, but I do think that we need to mobilize more funding into nature and forest protection. I mean, as you said before, forests play a really, really key role in regulating local, national, and global climate. And we know that, studies say that it absorbs around 30% of carbon dioxide. So we definitely need to up the funding. And Amazon Basin and the Colonial Basin are the largest and the second largest forest. And so protection of these forests are definitely part of the climate agreement. Where I think the money should go, I think there are three elements. And I think overall is we need to focus that all the funding commitments are put to good use. So first, we need more funding. Second, we need to make sure that they're channeled to activities on the ground, especially to people that depend on land and forests for their livelihood. And third, we need to provide incentive mechanisms to help transition to an alternative sustainable economy. And these include keeping forest standing, it includes financial instruments to restore areas that have been degraded, and also to support activities such as capacity building for adoption of sustainable agricultural practice. So basically protect, restore, and good forest management.